Hello, I'm Harry TV. Remember, you're gonna have to. And today, I'm going to be comparing NewScapePro's Minecraft Creepypasta roleplay, and Yuki Blake's Calamities Collide series, another Minecraft Creepypasta roleplay, and just talking about how I prefer one over the other. Really just talking about the similarities and what the other did better. Now, if you don't know what NewScapePro or Minecraft Creepypasta roleplay is, I did talk about it in another video talking about the series, so if you don't know what it is, go check that out. But if you don't know what Yuki Blake is basically another Minecraft roleplay channel, and they are fairly underrated, which is partly why I wanted to make this video, just to kind of bring them up and talk about them. I think they are a fairly underrated YouTube channel, and you should definitely check it out. If you don't know what Calamities Collide is, it's basically a series about how the creepypastas live in a mansion, and how they're being watched by a mysterious organization that wants to capture them. Now, this video will contain major spoilers for Calamities Collide, so if you have not watched Calamities Collide, or NewScapePro's Creepypasta series, I will leave a link for them in the description if you want to go check them out. Without further ado, let's get into the review. So NewScapePro's Creepypasta series is about a trio of friends, Nick, Corey, and Tommy, who break into a mansion to steal these mysterious files for a reason that's never explained. And Calamities Collide opens up with who you could argue is the main character, Tori, or Victoria, a Victorian girl who was taken in by the Slender Man. And we already get a taste of the character dynamic these characters have. We get a sense that they're a big family in the mansion, and the writing in this is pure gold, and this is probably one of the funniest introductions we've ever had in a Minecraft series. And that's what I want to talk about for these two, the writing. The problem I have with the intro of NewScapePro's series is that these characters start off rather cynical, and we don't really have them in a bonding moment other than them reading the story. They just kind of argue and say things like, let's get this over with, and we don't even get an explanation as to why they're collecting these files. They're just kind of there. We don't really get a sense of care from these three. It's almost like watching Modern Family Guy or Velma, where none of the characters ever get along and all they do is argue. What I find hilariously ironic is the wholesome writing and the feel that the characters care for one another comes from Calamities Collide, where the creepypastas are the protagonists. For example, in a brilliantly executed Toy Story 2 reference, we get a hint of Tori's backstory, and it's implied that she was possibly in a relationship with the Henry guy, either romantic or platonic, before he up and abandoned her. Though what I will say, it would be weird if it was romantic, considering she's a child, or supposedly. But hopefully we get more of the backstory as the series goes on. We even get a heart-to-heart with Tori and Jeff during all of this, and it perfectly exemplifies their brother and sister-like dynamic. We even get some character development from Jeff and Jane, and a possible hint that they could have romantic feelings for one another. And although I'm not usually a fan of the whole Jeff x Jane mansion cliche, I think it's done well here, and it kind of makes sense considering they've been living together for quite a long time, and considering this is an alternate universe, anything is possible in this creepypasta universe. The same can't be said for NewScapePro's Creepypasta series. that Jeff X. Jane moment to come straight out of nowhere, with no hints of character development beforehand, and you can just tell it was just put in there for fan service. They don't even act like a couple afterwards, as if that scene didn't just happen. All they either talk about is getting out of the mansion or fighting Slenderman, and they just have a back and forth about it. It doesn't even come across as a couple fighting. It just comes across as some weird acquaintance, friend type banter. They just completely ignore Jeff's confession like that, and I guess they don't want to come across as too snappy, which makes no sense because they went all out with it with Kobe and Clockwork. I guess NewScapePro was trying to troll the audience in a way, but either way, it's executed poorly. We eventually get some character development between the characters of Toby and Ashley, where they eventually turn against Slenderman, which I was kind of mixed about at first, but it does make sense. They're both sympathetic characters who came from abusive backgrounds, and Slenderman did kind of mistreat them a little bit. So that character development makes sense in my opinion. But back to Yuki Blaze and Calamities Collide, let's see what the non-Creepypasta characters are like. Here we're introduced to Talia, Penny, Brandon, and Jake, who investigate the disappearances of the citizens of Netherbrook. What I find interesting is that here they kind of act as protagonists, but at the same time antagonists of creepypastas. And what I find interesting is that it's all up to perspective. Of course they want to hunt down these supernatural beings that could be harmful to society. But then again, we see that the creepypastas are caring, at least they care about one another, and they are kind of a family. It kind of gives an interesting perspective on both sides, now that I think about it. Now, episode 4 is when things seemingly start to kick off. We're introduced to the SCP Foundation, who sort of act as the antagonists of the whole series, which I find kind of interesting. We don't usually get crossovers with the SCP Foundation acting as antagonists to the creepypastas, and there's an interesting twist to it, which I'll get to in a minute, which reveals why these SCP soldiers are after the creepypastas. Now, I mentioned that both series have a similar twist to them, and honestly, I think one series executes it better than the other, while the other series has the potential to be good, but is executed rather poorly. In NewScapePro's series, it's revealed that Corey has the ability to bring creepypastas to life if he's afraid of them, which doesn't even make sense and doesn't even get fully explained. Like, who called Corey to the mansion if these stories were all fictional at first? Where does Corey's ability come from? Also, how was Ashley even alive if she appeared before Corey even read her and Slenderman's story? Also, some of the characters that appear in this series aren't even read by Corey. Some of them, like Sonic.exe, are read by Tommy. So does Tommy have the ability too? Also, some of the stories Corey does read don't even appear, so this twist doesn't even make any sense. And it doesn't even get a full explanation of how it works. It turns out in Yuki Blaze's series that the creepypastas are alive due to the power and fears and imaginations of all humans, which to me makes more sense because it's not just one person with seemingly a chosen ability. This also gives an interesting perspective on the creepypastas, like what were their thoughts when they manifested into reality. We don't really get any of that in NewScapePro's series. It's seemingly just there as a twist, with no explanation as to how Corey got the twist, or if it's like a family thing that gets passed down, or we don't even get any explanation as to how these characters even came to be, how Corey even had the ability to read these stories and bring them to life in the first place. But tell me your thoughts in the comments. What do you think of these series, and which one do you like better? And honestly, in my opinion, I'd have to pick Yuki Blaine's Creepypasta series over NewScapePro's. And that's merely just in terms of the writing. But tell me what you guys thought in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. I'm Harry3TV, remember it's now you're gonna have to